Good morning, sex geeks. Hello, everyone. It's time for our walk, our morning or afternoon walk, or maybe evening. I sent out an email last night about these videos, and those emails go out all over the world. And a lot of the comments we're getting from folks are from different places. So I don't know what time it is that you're watching this. You could be watching the recording. I'm just super excited that people seem to kind of like what we're doing. So first thing, sound check, making sure the wireless mics work. And so leave me a comment. Also let me know where are you today? Where are you in the world? So I'd love to see in the comments, because I try to read all the comments. See where you're tuning in from today. I've got my computer screen in the back so I can look at your comments as they come in. And there's the video, so I think everything's working. And we've got like 14 viewers right now, and we're off. So good morning, everyone. British Columbia, hey Craig. It's 8:51. Your time over there. And Lauren, you're in British Columbia. Who else? Sean, this is a light green regular Sex Geek t-shirt. Maybe this represents Shamrock Shakes. Perhaps, I don't know. But when I'm just wearing a regular, normal Sex Geek shirt, this is relationship and sex advice. And then if I'm wearing my Sex Geek summer camp shirt, that is business advice for sex educators, workshop leaders, things like that, people like that. So if you're interested in more business advice, you can go to sexgeeksummercamp.com. That's a business retreat for sex educators. And readaboutsex.com for just relationship nerdery and advice and things like that. So good morning, everyone. We are talking today about sexual self-confidence, arousal. I want to show you one of my favorite Star Trek sex moves for my nerds out there. And I think I'm going to talk about something else. Let me see, what else did I write in the description? These are my notes. And erotic versus sensual. So I've got a lot of phone calls and meetings today, so we're gonna get this out of the way. But I'm so glad that so many people are not completely bothered by my treadmill desk, my walking desk that I'm using, and seem to be enjoying these videos. Feel free to share them. Feel free to, post them in other places. I super appreciate it, and I hope that they are useful for you. And I also want to say thank you, everyone who emailed me or leaving me messages with questions and things that they want me to talk about in these morning walks. I sent out my email to my email list last night, alerting folks about these videos, and asked them to hit reply and share what they'd like me to talk about. And one of the reasons I'm doing this, it's almost 11 a.m. on the West Coast right now, is we got so many emails, and I was reading so many interesting things that people want to talk about. So if I can't get to all of them on these morning walks, you can also check out my YouTube channel, where I have a little folder where I keep all the questions, and I try to answer them sometimes myself, sometimes with other educators. Kathy Vartuli and I answer a lot of questions. Kathy Vartuli from the Intimacy Dojo. So hi, Kathy, wherever you're at today. So please just always feel free to send me questions. I do try to read all of my emails. I'm pretty good about that. I don't always reply. In the same situation here, like, I try to go back to the videos and read all the comments, but the more videos we shoot, the tougher it's going to be to keep up on everything. And I just want to set expectations for folks that I will try to read and like everything that I can. And please don't take it personally if I don't like something or I don't respond directly to a comment or a question. I'm sorry if I can't be on top of all of that, and I'll try to do my best. And just like good relationship advice in life, let's try to be gentle with ourselves and not beat ourselves up for when stuff falls through the cracks, and do your best to show up and clean up your messes. So there, I've adjusted my expectations. Good morning, Lee. Jean Marie, hi. Nancy, hi. Um, Burger Boulder, Ann. So good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or whatever that is. Okay, so let's talk about sexual confidence and arousal. We had a really sweet person, if I can pull up my email on this. Hang on, I gotta find the right screen. Somebody wrote in this morning. So this is Sarah, who gave me permission to use her name, and I'll just read the email because it's actually really good thing to talk about and inspire today's talk. She goes, "Hey Reid, I was wondering if you would talk more about women's need for emotional safety in a relationship, to be able to be vulnerable enough to feel intense pleasure. I'm not sure this is an issue for every woman, but I'm very sensitive and my partner can be rather abrasive, and I find that when we're not getting along, my libido just disappears. And it's so bad that I can't orgasm and I feel so much less pleasure. But I notice when he takes the time to be more loving and reassuring to me, my libido wakes up. I have intense orgasms, and I feel so much more open and alive. I think this may be a serious issue for a lot of women, and I don't think very many men understand this. Maybe a lot of people are suffering in their relationships because of this issue, as both people suffer when one person is turned off sexually. They lose connection with each other. Anyway, thanks for listening, Reid. Wish lots of love and pleasure to you." So first off, thank you, Sarah, for sending the email. I'm gonna come at this question sideways because there's a couple of things that are going on here as a sex and relationship nerd that having talked to thousands of people since 2004 is when I kind of consider my career starting, when Cuddle Party became a big news story in the media, and everybody wanted to talk about why New Yorkers were paying money to cuddle. Cuddle Party was founded by myself and Marsha Baczynski, and now exists in several different countries and taught in different languages, and I stepped away from Cuddle Party. But one of the things since 2004, just like talking to thousands and thousands of people, one of the biggest issues that's going on, or challenges for just human beings in general, is that people don't really get great sex education and a lot of opportunity to practice getting good at sex, because we don't really frame it in that way, and we don't talk really openly about it. And I'll take responsibility, or not responsibility, but I'll speak for America, for the United States. There's not a lot of open conversation, and we do know psychologically that when people don't feel confident or competent about the things that they're doing, it creates a lot of hesitation. And when you just don't know things about your own body or other people's bodies, or how to speak up and ask questions and learn when you're with another human being in an intimate situation, there's a really huge opportunity for people to just do things wrong and treat each other's bodies not inappropriately, but just to treat people's bodies in ways that aren't going to work for them. And when you grow up in a culture where you're not supposed to be talking about sex, and you grow up in a culture where a lot of people have been exploring their own bodies and masturbating and self-pleasuring and having to be quiet, what you end up creating is a race of adults who don't know how to speak up, feel anxious asking for what they want, are basically sexual, mimes in the bedroom, sexual ninja. And if people aren't talking about sex, and also those situations where some people aren't having a lot of sex, and they don't even know how their own bodies operate, it's really easy to just mistreat people's bodies and be very clumsy and clunky. So the idea here is to think about ways that you can up your sexual self-confidence and practice getting better at speaking and asking for the things that you want and talking about sex. I recommend talking about sex when you're not having the sex, and then just practicing getting better at talking about sex during the sex. Megan Andy Do, who's a good friend of mine, amazing educator, that was the first time I ever heard from her the advice of practice talking about intimacy and the sex that you want and the things that you like when you're not in the bedroom. Like when you're driving a car. It was Megan's great example. You know, because you can both look straight ahead. And when it gets awkward, you're like, oh my God, I love this song. And you just crank up the music for a while. Talking about sex when you're not having it allows you to have those awkward moments with the stakes a little bit lower. When you're talking about sex while you're having it or in the bedroom, we're back to this, I'm going to say the wrong thing and ruin the moment and nothing's ever going to happen and all sex will be removed from me. We talked about that in the awkward walk and talk that we did the other day. So understanding like we could all benefit from more confidence and competence. And the reason I say confidence and competence is you can feel like you're amazing in bed and not know what you're doing and no one's speaking up about it and you're just doing it wrong. And you would never know that you're doing it wrong because people aren't telling you that you're doing it wrong. So we want confidence and competence. And the competence piece means you kind of need to learn how bodies work, and understand your own body. What's really great about psychology and studies on confidence and competence is there's a thing that we talk about called the confidence-competence loop, which is people generally speaking, when they feel more confident, tend to perform better. And when you tend to perform better, your confidence shoots up. And this is kind of a feedback loop where you start to get to, you just get better at things because you feel better at things. And because you feel better at things, you start to become better at things. Where this is really useful in sex is the more confident and competent you feel, the more relaxed people tend to be. And they really start to kind of drop into the zone and the flow and start to have more fun with the sex that they're having. And that can take a little bit of time, a little bit of learning curve from learning how to do something well and then really kind of having it start to become second nature to where you can really enjoy it. For those of you who've ever, tried to learn how to play music or maybe learn how to golf or some other physical activity, even like knitting and crocheting, like it takes a while until it becomes second nature to where you can relax and you're just kind of having fun with the fun of it. This can seem insurmountable for a lot of people because they're like, Reid, I'm not even dating. We got a lot of emails from people talking about challenges in dating and finding relationships and partners for sex and intimacy. And I'll address those in some future talks. But even if you're not dating anyone, you can still start learning how bodies work and understanding how to be better with them. So here's a quick, I'm going to jump into my favorite Star Trek bedroom move. But first I'm going to jump and see some of the comments. So hi, Anne. Sunny Megatron in the house, ladies and gentlemen. From Chicago. Debbie, how are you? All right, I think those are the people there. Who else? Victoria has joined us. So getting the idea that just learning and getting better with bodies and your own bodies and using your words, that's going to start shifting things. In a world filled with anxiety, you just being able to talk about sex makes you a superhero. That's like a superpower to be able to handle the awkward and actually hold space for other people to feel awkward, but to start to talk about things, ask for what they want, talk about things that maybe they're interested in. That's huge, and you want to be that kind of person in the world who has that superpower. So now let's talk about the Star Trek move, and this will all kind of weave together and make sense in a few minutes. So everyone say good morning or good afternoon to the wondrous vulva puppet. Hello, everyone. Now I feel like Mr. Rogers of Sex Ed. So this is a great puppet you can get on Etsy. You want to search for Wondrous Vulva Puppet. It's got a clit, and these are the inner labia and the outer labia, and there's even a representation of the G-spot that will poke out from time to time. The reason I'm using my Wondrous Vulva Puppet is to show you this move. So for those of you who are Star Trek fans, I apologize for what's about to happen. You won't be able to unsee this. For those of you who don't know what Star Trek is, go see a Star Trek movie or a Star Trek episode. I'm a fan of the original series, but the Next Generation and all the other spin-offs, amazing stuff. If you would like to do the Vulcan greeting with me, the peace and long life, live long and prosper greeting that Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, who is rest in peace, used to do, made famous. What I want you to do is imagine that take your knee and put the palm of your hand on your knee if you're sitting down or standing up. If you're driving, why are you even watching this video? Don't do that. Watch this later. And I want you to put the palm of your hand on the top of your knee as if the top of your knee was your pubic mound, or the pubic mound of somebody who has a vulva. In technical sex geekery, the vulva is the outside and the vagina is the inside. And you want to take the palm of your hand and place it on the top of your knee in the Vulcan greeting and drape it over your knee with your fingers open. And the reason I'm teaching you this is what we know now about the vulva and the arousal and erectile tissue inside, basically the clitoral structure, is that there's as much erectile tissue in the clit and the clitoral structure inside and around the vagina as there is for a penis. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make when playing with vulvas is they go for the hole too soon. And if you are a vulva owner and you know this to be true, or you've ever had somebody go for the hole too soon, then maybe you want to leave a like comment or an agree in the comment section, or hit the like button or something like that. So one of the things when I'm teaching college students is to use this Vulcan, what we call the inverted Vulcan, because what you end up doing is with your palm on the knee, or the pubic mound in this case, on your knee, and your fingers draped over, you can then give pressure and kind of a massage in a way that allows somebody, the vulva owner, to hump back against you and use all their pelvic floor muscles. There's a great book by Sherry Winston called I think it's called The Anatomy of Female Arousal. Yeah, I think it's The Anatomy of Female Arousal by Sherry Winston, which goes into great depth about the erectile tissue underneath the surface. But what you want to do is you want to give pressure and kind of a massage in a way where you're not going for the hole too soon. Where this little trick, which is really funny, because now whenever you see anybody giving you the Vulcan greeting, you're like, vulvas. And this move will also work on penises. You can either come up from underneath and have the palm against the taint and the penis and the nuts kind of in between, or you can come from above and do a similar thing with the shaft coming out this way. But where this little teaching technique is useful is it reminds people to use pressure and massage to give people time to become more fully aroused, rather than just going for the hole too soon. Or if you're playing with a penis or with a butthole, like you're going too fast, too hard, too soon. When you slow down and give people time to drop into their bodies, to start to feel more aroused, what you're doing is you're leveraging their body and what we know about humans and their erectile tissue and their arousal, so that they will start to feel more pleasure. If you give people more time and you slow things down, as they start to become more aroused, they're also kind of somatically dropping more into their body. Things don't feel as aggressive or as abrasive, as Sarah said in her email. And then as we start to drop into our bodies, we can feel more and everything feels better. You just slowing down and giving people more time to connect with you and to get turned on, will make them, for the most part, think you're just great at sex. So you could still even be in your learning curve clunkiness. You're like, I know there's this Star Trek move, but I'm not sure. Am I doing it right? Use lube. Lube is really huge and big in just creating more pleasure in general, to genitals in general. But with these little, as you're getting clunky and learning, you just slowing things down, breathing with people, letting them get into their body, understanding that most people take 10 to 20 minutes to start to calm down and relax and drop into their bodies anyway, which, for those of you who aren't dancers, I am not a dancer. I always wondered why when my friends took me out dancing, why that first 20 minutes was so excruciating. It was torture to me being on the dance floor, like all awkward and super nervous. And what I learned was, if I give myself 20 minutes of just being super self-conscious, often I will shift and my brain will refocus and I'll drop into my body and I'll start to feel less anxious. 20 minutes is a long time to feel awkward and clumsy and anxious. So understanding that the people that you're in bed with might need 15 or 20 minutes to start to get out of their head, knowing that and taking your time and intentionally creating making out, massage, gentle caressing, the Vulcan, inverted Vulcan move, giving people time to get into their bodies will just make you a better lover, period. Slowing things down so that later you can go fast and hard and furious can be really useful. A lot of us pick up bad role modeling from watching mainstream porn because porn's edited to be active and often all the warm-up gets edited out because they want to cut to the chase scene. And understanding around a porn literacy perspective, and porn's amazing, and I'm actually going to be in LA this week hosting some award stuff for some of the porn awards for XBiz, so that's going to be really fun. But like, just understanding, like, when you go and watch a race car movie, you're not looking for driving cues. And trying to learn how to be a better lover from watching mainstream porn is like trying to learn how to be a better driver from watching the Fast and the Furious. You need to understand that porn is edited, and these people are like Olympic Circus Soleil performers of the sex, and all the negotiation, all the warm-up, all the slow stuff often gets edited out. It's there. It's just we don't see it because it doesn't look active enough. When you can put in all the slow stuff and help each other get into your bodies and become fully aroused, then all the fast stuff makes way more sense. And you can have these amazing pornographic moments of feats of fantasy and excitement, but it works so much better when you take the time to set things up properly. And a lot of people, like we said, don't really know their bodies really well. So they don't know how to get themselves there. One of the things I'll end with is this idea between what's erotic and what's sensual. And this will help you get to those places and help you get your lovers to those places. And the distinctions are that, there's sensual, things that feel arousing to you, that generally ways you like to be touched, positions that you like to be in, areas of your body that you like to be touched, because it's not just how you're being touched, but where you're being touched, your erogenous zones, and those can be different for everybody. And those things can shift and change as you become more aroused. Not everybody wants to be spanked right away, but some people are in the throes of passion, then they want to be spanked. So it gets very different. And you have to learn these things and pay attention to each other and communicate what your needs are. So the sensual piece is what turns your body on. And then the erotic concept or distinction is what turns your brain on. For some people, they don't ever want to be spanked, but the idea of being spanked turns their brain on. So understanding and learning about yourself, like what are the things that your body likes and what are the things that your brain likes. And just because your brain likes something doesn't mean you ever have to do it. But understanding the distinctions between erotic and sensual allow you to leverage things. You can be doing something really slow and sensual with people's genitals while perhaps you're dirty talking about something that's a fantasy of theirs that's turning their brain on. So as you're going slow and helping them become more aroused physically through sensation, you're also creating things that are turning their brain on so that they get even more aroused. The other thing that's really neat about understanding what is erotic for your lovers is you can play with eroticism and never ever have to do any of it. You can, I once had a couple come to a threesome workshop of mine, and they shared in the beginning of the workshop, they're like, we never want to have a threesome. And I'm like, you realize this is a threesome workshop. The title is Negotiating Successful Threesomes. And they're like, we know. And I'm like, why are you here? And they looked up at the room proudly and they announced, we just want to know we could have a threesome. And then the room was like, ooh. Because for them it was going to be a turn on to know that they could have one. And they probably went home that night and made love and talked about the threesome that they could have had. So understanding that what turns your brain on doesn't ever have to be something you actually do, and that knowing these things allows you to teach your lovers how they can play with you and get you even more fully aroused, and they can feel more competent about being a lover of yours because they got to do a good job, and it allows you to start asking better questions of the people that you are sleeping with and playing with, because you can now start to figure out what turns their brains on too, which means you need to have communication, which means you're role modeling it's okay to talk about this stuff. I think we've come to the end of what I wanted to talk about today. We've got all kinds of comments, and Leanne, hi, thank you, everyone. We've got some thumbs up. And I just want to say thank you, everyone. I'm going to look at the comments right now rather than stay here and try to, fix with my phone. But I'll start answering questions and whatnot in the comment section. Please feel free to email me at reid@readaboutsex.com with your questions. And if you're looking for geeky programs for upping your sexual self-confidence, there's some free training videos at sex10xonline.com. So it's sex10, the number 10x online.com. That's I've got some free training videos there for you, and then an invite if you want to go further and go deeper. You can do a 6-week online course, which is my Sex10X online course. I think that's it. Thank you so much for going on this morning walk with me. Share the video. Leave a comment, and I appreciate you all putting up with my geeky nerdiness. I'll talk to you later. Mwah. Have a great week. And tomorrow I'm going to be in LA, so I don't know how we're going to do our walk yet. I might have to just walk around the hotel or something with you. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But be prepared for tomorrow. We won't be in the office. We'll actually be outside in another place. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, Sex Geek. If you would like to continue with the brain sex, do me a favor and click subscribe right here. If you'd like to watch me on social media, that's where you're going to go. Next video, maybe? And if you really would like your own Sex Geek t-shirt, please click right here, right now. Boop. No, really, like...